In 1996, when the government conducted a political purge and a crackdown on unlawful religious activities, poison pen letters were sent to the government, and Tai Ji Men was caught in the crossfire. After 3 criminal trials spanning 10 years and 3 months, the Supreme Court's decision in 2007 confirmed that Tai Ji Men was not guilty of fraud, tax evasion, or violation of Tax Collection Act, clearing Tai Ji Men's name.
I saw a streak of shadow in his eyes. Based on my experience of handling cases, my instinct told me he might be raising goblins.
If a prosecutor can decide whether to prosecute you or not, only based on the look in your eyes, never will there be a day of peace in Taiwan.
I've studied the Tai Ji Men tax case for close to 2 years. I've written an article about the Tai Ji Men tax case. I don't think I've seen more abuse of the right of due process in any situation than I have seen in the Tai Ji Men tax case. It is not due process to accuse a human being in a civilized society of raising goblins. The mere statement of that would cause individuals and should cause individuals to question the sanity of the prosecutor. And in any court of law, such an absurd allegation would be thrown out. I think that a 20-year ordeal is a violation of human rights. Justice delayed is justice denied. And to delay justice for 20 years and to still not have it, as we're sitting here today, is, in my mind, a denial of justice. And the thing that perplexes and even disturbs me is the fact that justice has been denied and delayed by just a few individuals. It is appalling to me that those few individuals could hijack an entire government.
The Tai Ji Men case is neither a tax case nor a case about the judiciary because it is, in fact, a purge, a political purge.
The Tai Ji Men incident is a typical February 28th incident.
The Tai Ji Men case is like a collection of all kinds of violations of due process in taxation.
One has to hope that the Tai Ji Men issue, because it has been discussed in the press, because it has been discussed by members of the Legislative One, will in fact lead to a profound reform of the tax system.
The evidence illegally obtained by the prosecutors should not be used by the tax authorities for tax collection. This is in line with the due process of law in the country adhering to the rule of law.
Record, transcript, evidence collected were altogether in fact not admissible as evidence.
We can say that in this case, you'll find that the investigation of facts and evidence, reviewing of the files, and the entire tax selection process are ridiculously skewed.
The first trial decision on the Tai Ji Men case at the time, the only objective was to honor freedom of religion, belief, and thought in human dignity. I believe that in taxation, we should also honor this. To clarify, the court rulings in the first, second, and third trials indicate that this is a gift, so you should not interpret it as a cram school tuition.
This case is mainly about the fact that they believe these were monetary gifts for their shifu. After 3 trials, the Supreme Court has made its decision. We, as judges, elaborated on the reason why the indictment is not reliable. If the tax agency quoted this indictment as the basis for taxation, I think it is outrageous.
The indictment itself should not be considered as evidence. It is simply the prosecutor's claim. Those used to support his claim are called evidence. The indictment itself is not evidence. It has nothing to do with the issue of admissibility as it is not evidence at all.
The criminal court has long recognized that the money received by Tai Ji Men in this case is not tuition. Such a decision should unquestionably be binding for other courts and government agencies.
Through the criminal investigation in the judicial system, it has been confirmed that the money involved is a gift. rather than income, so there is no issue of income tax. For the facts confirmed in a criminal court's ruling, the administrative agency have no reason not to adopt them and no reason not to base their decision on them.
The third criminal trial decision has already stated that the money given by the dizi to the grandmaster is a gift. It is tax exempt according to the income tax law.
There's a lot of evidence supporting that this is a monetary gift and thus should not be taxable. Yet it will be treated as taxable income. No doubt it's a very serious mistake and it violates the principle of evidence.
The gift from dizi, according to the income tax law and the inheritance and gift tax law, is tax-free. More importantly, the criminal court has made a decision on this, and the giver is responsible for paying taxes rather than the recipient.
This fabricated case was rectified 10 years ago. But why are the unjustified tax bills being issued again and again? Why haven't they been revoked? One of the most important reasons is, as we have explained, the so-called bonus that the tax agent received from collecting taxes.
The Tai Ji Men case is like a mirror that completely reflects the problems of the judicial system in Taiwan, as well as the severe problems in taxation.
If not for Tai Ji Men, the ugly facts about Taiwan's taxation system would hardly be revealed.
Regarding the Tai Ji Men case, all the associated administrative and judicial officers must be held accountable. They know their mistakes. Why haven't they rectified them?
This case is a test for our government. It only takes a bit of wisdom and courage to pass it. The Tai Ji Men case is testing whether the new administration is implementing transitional justice. Will it pass the first exam?
You can visit the Control Yuan's website, where I indicated 7 points for rectification. With each, the National Taxation Bureau simply said, we made a mistake. In 2011, I told the finance minister that this case should be closed. But he didn't attempt to resolve the matter the way he would with his own business. After all, he already got his bonus, and the tax is imposed on someone else anyway.
The Tai Ji Men criminal case was redressed 10 years ago, but the tax bills still cannot be resolved. To this day, the tax bills, the fabricated tax bills, has not been revoked. What kind of government is this? We don't need such a government.
Our constitution's structure is problematic. A case like Tai Ji Men should have been resolved through the separation of power among the three branches of government.
The court decision for the case, no fraud, no tax evasion, and no violation of the Tax Selection Act. To the people, it is unjust for a case to drag on for 20 years.
Regarding the Tai Ji Men case of injustice, over 300 legislators have expressed their voices of justice over the years.
Between 1966 and 1990, Tai Ji Men had no tax problems. From 1997 to this day, Tai Ji Men has had no tax problems either. Why did you impose taxes on Tai Ji Men only for 1991 to 1996?
The Tai Ji Men case is straightforward. In 2002, when Control Yuan issued the investigation report, we thought Ministry of Justice would take action, but nothing happened. They all cover up each other.
The case was heard by over 80 judges. And in the end, Tai Ji Men won the case. Surprisingly, the Taxation Bureau insisted on seizing the property through the Administrative Enforcement Agency of the Ministry of Justice. This resulted from the prosecutor's abuse of power and unlawful prosecution.
The prosecutor brought a fabricated and baseless prosecution. Now the courts have found the defendant not guilty. Not guilty. What does that mean? Means that at the outset, all the tax information provided by the prosecutor was fake. Right, it was all fake.
There is insufficient evidence for criminal charges. What law did you apply? Why are the tax bills not revoked? What law did you apply? You should correct your mistakes.
The administrative courts, the Control Yuan, and the Petitions and Appeals Committee all made decisions in their favor. They won every single time. Could you please explain? Apart from these three authorities, what else can they appeal to?
Is it justifiable to brush aside due process, the legal basis for our laws, simply for the purpose of collecting more taxes?
Today, in the Tai Ji Men case, justice is on whose side? The truth is on whose side? It's already very clear. In light of the huge costs of this case to taxation and society, we probably are doing a meaningless thing.
The judicial system has cleared their names and has made the ruling. Why do the administrative agencies still go against the court's ruling? We request that the administrative agency follow the law and take action in accordance with the court's ruling.
We demanded the Taxation Bureau to revoke its illegal tax bills. You just ignored us. Do you think you're above us? You ignore the court, the control yuan, and even the legislative yuan. You really think you're above everyone else.
The criminal case has spent 10 years and 7 months. The judgment of all 3 trials found Tai Ji Men not guilty. The court judgment clearly stated that there was no fraud, no tax evasion, and no violation of Tax Collection Act. NTB still continues to issue tax bills. What on earth is wrong with it? Our taxpayers' rights are almost non-existent. The case has been ruled not guilty by the court, the control yuan, and the Supreme Administrative Court, but you keep paying them with the same tax bills.
The current president announced that no citizen should encounter state violence anymore.
We need to be outraged if the case is not settled properly.
Many legislators from different parties are all expressing their concerns about this case.
It was not until the Tai Ji Men case did injustices over taxpayers' rights start to come to prominence. So we must in fact thank Tai Ji Men.
How come this over 20 years ongoing case of injustice hasn't been resolved? Is there justice in the nation? In the government?
In the legislative yuan, especially in the finance committee, we've heard many petitions from the citizens, but we've never heard anything as absurd as what Tai Ji Men experienced. As ordinary citizens, the gifts they gave and the claims they made were reasonable and lawful. Their claims, which have been approved by the courts, are trampled. This is unacceptable.
There are many tax laws, relevant executive orders, administrative regulations that are unconstitutional and unlawful. The government agencies should review all the laws and regulations that are against the 2 covenants, against the fundamental spirit of the Constitution and other regulations, and against the Universal Declaration of Human Rights.
The Tai Ji Men tax case was initiated by you. It has dragged on for 18 years and hasn't settled yet. Why is that? If the Tax Bureau were right, if the Ministry of Finance were right, why would it end after 18 years?
I would like to report to you that
if the Taxation Bureau is wrong, then you should quickly terminate the case. One time, in order to enforce a compulsory execution, a released official document was clearly backdated using correction fluid. It was backdated to allow you to enforce a compulsory execution. Why are there such tax officers? Why are there such tax agencies? The government has pestered the people for 18 years. The case is still not settled. Clearly, there is something wrong with the government. Either it is not capable or there is something wrong with its mindset.
Then we should surrender and stop, right?
You are just being unreasonable, so you would make such senseless remarks.
Regarding Tai Ji Men tax dispute, it's been a long journey. I have participated in many parts of it. Of course, it is time to have the case settled.
The criminal trial decision has proved Tai Ji Men's innocence. The government has awarded the defendants compensation for unlawful imprisonment. The control yuan even recognized this as a landmark case of human rights violation. Incumbent and former presidents of our country, heads of government agencies, legislators, and scholars and experts at home and abroad have not only praised Tai Ji Men for its contribution to society, but also expressed their voices of justice over the Tai Ji Men case. The Taxation Bureau should immediately revoke the unjustified tax bills, terminate the case of injustice, and clear the people's names.